Hi guys, welcome to the Gen Z Catholic Podcast. I'm your host, Molen Tokal.
And I'm your host, Hidaya Waguda.
I know we promised that tutawaletea episodes then kidogo tu tukalegeza just kidogo. Mtuwie radhi. We've been busy, this Nairobi, busy up and down trying to get it together, but we are here as we had promised with good topics.
Yeah, and we also had to kind of re-strategize. You see, we have a different set. We're not in the same place we were.
May God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So before you do anything, I remember to subscribe, share, like, comment, and yeah, everything. Na venye tunasema this platform of ours tumekaribisha kila mtu.
Everyone.
Whether you're Catholic, an un-Catholic, an atheist,
Muslim,
a philosopher, a Muslim, a spiritual believer, a Buddhist,
yeah,
a pagan, whatever. And venye tunasema, in this space, in as much as we are Catholics, kumbuka, my opinion is different from another Catholic. My opinion is different from a Protestant. We are here just to discuss. Here we discuss. I'm saying that whatever Molen is saying is correct, whatever Ida is saying is correct. No. Your view, my view, the church's view, everyone's view, tunakaribisha hapa. Right?
Yeah, kabisa.
Okay, so today we are going to talk about contraceptives.
Contraceptives.
Yep.
Family planning methods.
Family planning methods. So, what do you know about contraceptives, Hidaya?
The other name for contraceptives is basically family planning methods. And personally, I think from the word family planning, I guess it's a way for people to kind of control the way, the number of kids they want to have. Yeah, that's the simplest explanation I can give.
So we know that the Catholic Church is against contraceptives. Yeah. Reason being, someone was saying, sex must be open to life. Sex must be open to life. Like that is what the church inamaanisha. When couples are engaging in sex, the goal should be for procreation, and for
rather than recreation.
Okay, before I talk to you, story recreation,
enjoyment.
Like sex is open to life in that sex should be for pleasure. Goal ya sex ni mbili, pleasure na life. Hizo tu. Like that is what sex is meant for. That is the nature of sex in short. Ama,
educate me.
Let me educate her. Yeah, like goal ya sex ni mbili. That was what someone was saying. Yeah, for us to enjoy. Yeah, those happy hormones and for us to give life. So anything past hapo, like someone was giving an example ya table na chair. Alikuwa anasema kwa nyumba we do have tables and chairs, right?
Yeah.
And the table, we know that purpose ya table is just for setting up things, right? But many other times unaweza jikuta umekaa juu ya table. Sindio? Ama ujikaa kwa meza?
Nimewahi.
Yeah.
But that's such an odd example.
As it's an odd example. Yeah. People do sit on tables, but or maybe a chair. Now, like this chair, for instance, I decide now the purpose of this chair, because it's mine, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put books on it. I'm just going to put books on it. But the real purpose of the chair is for one to sit, right?
Yeah.
That is what it was designed for. But now I decide, because it's mine, now it's going to lose its identity and I'm just going to put books kwa sababu ni yangu. So someone was saying that's how people are viewing the body, the body ya mwanamke, because it's meant for procreation and the happiness. So someone is like, tunaweza toa hii part ya procreation, instead wacha to introduce some foreign things in it. We introduce some foreign thing in it to try that the fertility part and all that, and then sasa ibaki, it's just for pleasure. Your body is just for pleasure and nothing else. Yeah. So maybe we can talk about the history of contraceptives kwanza before tusonge hivyo sana. Tumesonga na speed
Before
sana.
you get all scientific.
Yeah,
about
because
it.
it's not even science. Yeah. So now one reality that at least nimekam kujua, it's something that we can agree to disagree. Majority of the youths use contraceptives. They do use, and these youths wanapatikana wapi? They're in church. They're outside church. They're in. It's wanahanga wapi tena kwingine?
Clubs.
Yeah, they're in clubs. Anasema clubs. Okay. Wako most.
Youths are everywhere.
Yeah, youths are everywhere in short. Wako kwa manyumba, wako hustle, wako everywhere. And a bigger percentage wanatumia contraceptives. Like dunia nzima. I was listening to a Catholic priest, Jana, and he was saying that in the US, 96% of Catholics use contraceptives. Yeah, now
That's almost all of them.
Yeah, our own Catholics
yeah.
use contraceptives. No, the Christians themselves. Na reason wanastoy wanatumia, hao ndo wanajua. Hao ndo wanajua. So that is one reality yenye iko.
And we can't beat it because it's there.
Hatuwezi ichapa. Before niongelee the history of contraceptives, do you ever see yourself using contraceptives?
I don't know. I'd like to say no, but then I realize that as time goes, because your ideas or your opinions change with time. Because I don't know what tomorrow might bring or what tomorrow might come with. I might need it. I don't know. I don't want to say yes and I don't want to say no. I feel like it's a trick question.
It's a tricky question.
If I say I'll use it one day, no. Let me just say I don't know.
You don't know?
I'm not sure.
My honest opinion is more
Yeah.
Personally, someone told me, Molent never say never. Now that is what someone told me. Molent never say never.
Yeah.
So, adi kwa hii platform, I don't want to say like I'll never use it. But as in adi as panako kwenye nimefika in my life, I'm like, okay, it has its own pros and cons. Yeah. But I'm just in for the idea, yeah. Venye tulianza ndo venye tumaliza. Like, cause I think I have fear. I want to use the word fear. I have fear ndani yangu, like, what if something happens to my body? I mean, those pills are
your
so
body reacts different.
What if I start getting more fatter than I am? Oh my Lord. What if like I don't get children?
Yeah.
What if it interferes venye nasikianga how some of my friends say it interfere even with your menstruation cycle.
Yeah,
like I usually just have fear. Yangu nanda nasema ni fear of something foreign kwa mwili yangu. That is the fear that I have. So for that reason, since fear inaniongoza at this junction, I don't know if in future bado itaniongoza. If you listen to some of the reasons as to why people take contraceptives, but that major reason inahunga tu kuzuia mtu asikam. Ama tunaongana reason nyingine?
Major ni hiyo.
Yeah, majorly ni hiyo.
But also me, I'd like to say that at the moment, like as we speak right now, I'm against the use of contraceptives.
At the moment.
Yeah. Like for myself, or I wouldn't advise a friend to use it. So I'm speaking for like right now. I don't know if the next second my idea might change.
I know.
Yeah.
Personally, my friends use contraceptives. They do use good, and I'm always like, oh, so that is how it works. Especially now, this one that got my attention. But when it comes to contraceptives, I realized sijafunguka akili hivyo sana, and I'm like, oh, so that is how, like, story na P2 nishaisikia. So, but sijaisikia like venye how when someone takes it, venye you're not supposed to take it frequently. A friend of mine was just telling me recently. Apparently, if you take P2, like it should be once in a year. And then you take it again like next year. So I was like telling her, and now these other times that you tend to engage in sex with your partner, how do you go about it? She's like, I think you just pray to God that may you not be pregnant.
Go down on your knees.
You're gonna be like, God, if utanitoa kwa hii.
I know I'm a sinner. Sirudi
because abortion is not the goal.
Yeah.
And I even recently realized yeah, I've even had friends telling me how they've tried to take abortions, man. Wako zile za it's just a pill that you take when mtoi anafaa kuwa may come through like for a month and then and I'm like, really? And you think that's good? So hadi mimi for now I can't advise him say take it. I'm always like mtoi amekam venye unasema anakuja na sahani yake though
akujali na kikombe.
I beg to differ from that point ya kukuja na sahani sometimes, but pia it depends. I think it depends. Jumina ulizanga why take it and smart. It depends the circumstance gani the child is involved. Amekuja time I'm still in school. I just don't want to. How will my parents react? It's the society. I'm not financially stable. Like people have all sorts of reasons. Ikifika ni kuabort mtoi.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they when you're fully like engaging in sex, like is it vitu hit? I don't know if they're usually open to an extent of discussing with their partner. Don't try if mtoi atakam. But there's some partners encourage their partners to go through these stuffs. To go for family planning, to even go for abortion because they're like, let it not ruin the pleasure that we have. This fun. No wonder you always pose a question. Tunasema sex is for procreation. Oh, if sex is for, pose it to the people.
Okay, do you believe or do you think that sex is for procreation or is it meant for recreation?
Please, hapo kwa comment, just tell us. Do you think sex is meant for procreation or recreation?
And by recreation we mean enjoyment.
Oh, recreation, yeah. Actually, if you think sex, okay.
Sex for procreation, like strictly for procreation. Is it supposed to be just for
recreation? Me, I think it's for both. It's for both. I want to enjoy. You want to enjoy, but you don't want kids. Others want to enjoy with kids involved. Others enjoy, no kids involved. Now, when you tumesema, the church should like learn to handle this reality that youths in real sense wanatumia contraceptives. Na utaambia like chokeni kwa kanisa hatuwataki.
Kwa sababu kuna
So I'll give a very brief history of contraceptives.
Before that, so see, we all know, you've said it, you've mentioned it on multiple occasions that the church is like, no contraceptives. But then there's this girl from our church, you know, Dreams girl.
Yeah.
So
Dreams.
Yeah. So their goal is basically to empower
the girl
child. Yeah. And they teach girls on how to use contraceptives, the different types of contraceptives and whatnot. So there's this lady from our church. She works as a dreams mentor. Yeah. And so on multiple occasions, every time she interacts with these girls, she has to tell them about the importance of staying safe, or if you can't abstain from sex, do this, or use this and all that. So I was curious and I decided to ask her, what do you think, or don't you think it's a case of double standards that when you are in church, you are like, oh, people shouldn't use this, but when you're outside there, you're telling these girls that this is what they should use and this is what they should do, and it's like you're preaching water and drinking wine.
Hypocrisy.
Yeah, hypocrisy. And she was like, okay, the girls I'm talking to or the girls I interact with are girls who come from vulnerable households or vulnerable backgrounds. And these girls, most of them have had those early pregnancies. So they are in dreams is for resilience. So you pick yourself up and go ahead. So for her, she's like, how then do I tell this girl, or how do I help this girl to not stay where she was, because she already had this first child. She didn't plan for it, and she doesn't know even how to cater for it. So how do I tell her, or how do I encourage her to pick herself up and go on? The first thing is I teach her how to not get another child who she won't, another unplanned child. So that's where the contraceptives comes in. So we can argue about these things, but it helps some people.
Yeah. We can also agree to disagree.
Yeah.
It's allowed. So in hapo kwa comment, just tell us your view about contraceptives.
Kabisa.
Yeah, we know the church is against it. That's a fact. There is now how it helps for society, because
society.
Personally, where we come from, Dandora, I believe 80% or 90% of the girls there were enrolled in Dreams. And these girls are the same ones utawapata church, utawapata PMC, you'll get them in MYM, you'll get them in senior youths. And when they go outside wakienda hizo classes, there's a Dreams, they're being trained these things.
Yeah.
They are even being wanapatiwa hizo contraceptives zenyewe. They are told how they can take care of themselves and all that. And at the same time, tukijota tunamwambia tu kidogo huwa tunaeka watu kwa hotspots. Juu mtu saa zingine ajuange achague wapi, asichague wapi. Now, hapo kwa Dreams, but we are grateful for the work wanafanya. They empower girls vizuri sana huko nje. Now, I'll give a brief history of contraceptives, and then I'll also give some of the comments that my friends wali share. I'll also give Pop's view on contraceptives. So the history of contraceptives. So unapata kitambo, even way back before Jesus came, women were
Before Jesus.
Before Jesus.
Okay.
Imagine like this predictable. In fact, in corner someone was like, higher. Now, women at some point walikuwa wanajiona they needed liberation and freedom. That, according to what I was reading, they needed liberation and freedom. And liberation and freedom haiko inakuja kirahisi. Juu unapata the role of a woman, especially heri siku hizi tuko empowered. I can just say no, I don't want you in my life. Get out. I want this number of children. I can be a single mom. You can be a single. We can co-parent. Now back then, it was like your role is just to be the wife, cook, watoto, children after children, children after children. So, but in real sense, ulikuwa unapata kuna wanawake, health wise it was affecting them, mentally it was affecting them, and others were like they have to find a way of liberating themselves out of this. So in the ancient, uko ni Mesopotamia, uko Egypt, so unapata they'd settle for like stones. They touch stones in their vagina. I know. The thought of it's just ugly. But then they were saying they're small stones. And I'm like,
upsetting. I thought it was
how do you even like insert a stone in your vagina?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, so what if you're engaging in sex and you have a stone underneath your vagina? I don't even want to picture it, but yeah. That's it. Others were settling for kuna vitu nyingi. Others were settling for elephant skin, crocodile skin, lemon. I don't know how they thought it, but some kunapata it was not working. And even as time ilikuwa inasonga, they tried. So, okay, now I'll give a very brief history on this. So, unapata as time went by, when people were evolving, when contraceptives ilikuwa introduced to the US, but that everyone was against it. Everyone was so against it. Na ilikuwa inapatikana, na ulikuwa unapata now, funny enough, watu walikuwa wanapigania hii haki ni wanawake. They were like, no, my body, my choice. I'm the one who decides nataka watoto wangapi. I'm the one who decides when I'm supposed to carry this or not. So walikuwa wanapata, if mtu amefungwa hadi hosi and you're teaching people about contraceptives, ulikuwa unafungwa. So they were not for it at first. But again, what happened? With time, when soldiers walikuwa wanaenda war, ika happen kulikuwa na outbreak ya syphilis. So syphilis was rampant. Na ilikuwa ina affect watu wa diuso. Syphilis will affect watu uso.
I think.
Till date.
Now. Now medicine has evolved and I think.
So ilikuwa ina affect watu wa diuso. And so that's why like this thing can kill us. It can kill us. And ulikuwa pata soldiers wakienda war like for long, they'd engage in sex like evil to anyhow, like how they please. Na wanaleta magonjwa. So now condom was introduced. When condom was introduced, so just wakaanza kutumia, and now the government was saying now this is helpful. It helps in saving a life. Juu tumetuma our men to war. We are not guaranteed if they're going to come back or not. Yeah, but at least they can have pleasure. And it's saving them from a lot. Save from magonjwa. Kumbuka syphilis ilikuwa inaua hiyo wakati. And they still need the energy at war. So napata, with time now they started embracing it. Yeah, so na do hiyo mpaka till now. But then there are some church which advocate for these things. So nasema they have their own reasons. Kuna others, but even as I was doing my research, kunapata hadi churches zilikuwa against all this. But with time, kunapata the Catholic Church and a few churches ndo bado zina stick to this rule. Mpaka saa hizi, like, no, it's just like, picture it, you're just taking a life away. Juu wanasema birth inaanza what do they say? Birth begins at conception, or conception begins. Birth inaanza at conception.
Life.
Oh, it's life. Life begins at conception. Yeah, so life begins at conception. So that is how much they value it, and they value that human life is sacred. And now wanasema pia the effects. Okay, so other than life beginning at conception, wanaangalia pia in the aspect that it has damages to your body. Na pia ina encourage promiscuity, encourage someone is even saying encourage single parenting, like inafanya families zivunjike. Yeah, people are giving all sorts of reasons based on the church.
I'd like to hear the reasoning behind your families zivunjike because of
contraceptives. Sasa, I just had it as a point. Okay, you can as well give your view on this. Kumbuka, it's a discussion. We are discussing. I'm not right, she ain't right, the church ain't right, you ain't right. It's your view, my view. Yote hapo weka kwa comment section. Now, as we are finishing on this, I don't know if I should go with what the Pope said first, ama tumalize. Okay, should I go with what my friend said first, or the Pope? Who's superior?
Go with what your friend said, then we end with the Pope.
Sit down. Okay, so a minute on this. My friends, so I asked my friends their views concerning his story. And some were bold enough to share with me. And I'll read it out, Nani Seme. And my friends, this research was a bit biased. It was just based on the Catholic Church. I didn't ask my Protestant friends. I will next time. I didn't ask my atheist friends. I will next time. I didn't ask my Muslim friends. Next time, tap on.
She asked her friends. I don't have friends. That's why I couldn't ask.
I know. So I'll read this one. Anasema, science and religion are always at loggerheads. Science remedies as religion wants. So mse anafatwa chukwe tu kitu yenye yeye anaona itamsort. As the Bible states, whatever gets into a person doesn't defile them. Rather, what comes from within them. So, my take is that contraception is helpful and beneficial when used by people in marriage to allow birth control.
In marriage, that's the keyword.
Keyword is in
marriage.
In marriage, to allow birth control. And allows for conjugal rights. When used out of marriage, then it becomes sinful, as the intention is to promote wedlock and sexual immorality.
Promiscuity.
Conclusion: the church needs to consider purpose of usage in marriage. So yeah, me highlight in marriage. I'll give another view.
That's a smart person.
He's very smart. Very smart. Yeah, it's a he.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a he.
I think it's a she.
No.
I don't know why I think women are more intelligent.
No, women have men who are intelligent. The other one says, so the church doesn't advocate for the use of contraceptives simply because it believes sexual intercourse should always be open to the possibility of procreation. Church interview contraceptives as interference with the natural order of human sexuality, hence the opposition of its usage. Kuna encycle inajita humani is it vitae
You say answer what?
Hey, encyclical.
Encyclical.
Hey, encyclical inajita humani vitae.
Vitae.
It's a vitae. When
know.
You say curriculum vitae, I don't
vitae.
know. Yeah, that word for curriculum, that last part.
That's a message.
Which was issued time ya Pope Paul VI during ban the usage of artificial contraceptives. It was written to reaffirm the traditional position of the Church on matters of marriage and sexuality. The sixth precept of the Catholic Church obliged me to try to adhere to the Catholic teaching of marriage. So that was another person's view. Another one, I think I'll read this one, the last one. Alisema, well, I think the church has to come to terms that young people are engaging in sex, and rather than avoiding the conversations, talk about it in a positive and healthy light. And since, well, they can still preach abstinence for those who are not yet. But when you wako already, talk about contraceptives, pros and cons. Pia ikumbuke kuna watu hutumia contraceptives because of reproductive issues like endometriosis. But the fact that church haiko open for such conversations, hapo ndo niko like, odiluza shi.
Sasa wagawanye church mara mbili kama umewahi tumia kai side.
Yeah. Exactly. That's her view basically. She's like, na anaisema in general in that venye amesema her view, the church has to come into terms that youths are engaging into sex. And so those who are engaging into sex, wachukue hivi, tell them about contraceptives and tell them the pros and cons about it. Though, again, another thing about the church and the Bible is that like sex before marriage is a sin. But sasa reality kwa ground, Jehovah, come for us all. And na wale wenye wajawai wa abstain. Yeah, so give us your view about contraceptives. Tell us your pros and cons. If you're wise enough and bold enough, you can tell us if you use it or not. You can tell us. So I'll finish by saying what Pope Francis had to say about all this. He didn't like directly refer to his story. Alisema, one thing that we all have to realize, the church is developing. The Catholic Church in the 21st century is not the Catholic Church that was in the 20th century when these doctrines zilikuwa zinaandikwa. Na akasema pia, the fact that the church is developing, so are the doctrines. That was, I quote the Pope, and he says, true development should be based on, if at all a church is developing and so are the doctrines, it should be based on, if a development is to occur, it should be consolidating, expanding, or refining. It should be expanding or refining the existing Catholic teachings. Hapo we need a philosopher, a theologian atuambie expand kidogo. Akasema the church hizo kitambo watu and akasema, I quote this, there are people who are called backwardists, and these are people who are always like, oh, the Catholic traditions are always even you should stick to them. That was then. He says that was then. We are living in this moment now. We are evolving now. We want to make the doctrines to be better. That is why he uses the word true development. And he says, for whoever is a backwardist na anashinda akicling on to the doctrines za kitambo, that person is equal to a sinner. I quote the Pope singing.
Quote the Pope.
Yeah, I quote my Pope. So, you have anything to say as we wrap it up?
No, I'd just like to reaffirm that part of evolving, because there was a time women weren't allowed to come to church during their monthly, when they are going through their monthly periods.
In the Catholic Church?
Yeah, in the church in general. Then
church in general, like Catholic or
Yeah, even Catholic. Like, I don't know what century it was, but there was a time women weren't allowed.
I think Muslims still practice that.
But I think they are also changing with time.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not sure about it. Yeah, we are an
But
evolving
we are
church.
an evolving people in
Yeah,
general.
yeah, and that is why I guess last year we were in that synodality kind of thing. We are moving together as one. Yani, we're in that journey of synodity, and it's together as one. Tunasonga. Yeah. So feel free to give your views. Kumbuka, I'm not right, she ain't right, no one is right. It's open in as much as we are referring to Catholics.
Me, I'm right. Hey, no, I'm right.
Oh yeah, she says she's right. Mimi naenda I don't say naenda flow. I'm just open to every opinion that is there to be said. As we conclude, kumbuka to
share, like, comment, and subscribe, and use the hashtag
Ifikie Pope. That's our hashtag. So thank you. I've been your lovely host, Moland, and I hope to see you again. In the next topic, we're going to talk about homosexuality. Drum rolls. Yeah, so be on eye.
And I've been your host, Idaya Waguda. Thank you for watching.
Bye. Lots of love.